All right, folks, look, this is a story you absolutely need to know about because it has major implications for not only the United States, but the entire world. And it further proves that our government under Donald Trump is run by idiots or Russian pawns. I mean, we've known that for quite some time, but this really hammers it home. We just learned via Bloomberg and a leaked phone call that U.S. presidential envoy Steve Witkoff, who has been focusing on the Russia-Ukraine war, advised Russia on how to pitch their plan for Ukraine to Donald Trump in this leaked phone call. So just think about that for a second. An American coaching the Russians on how to pitch the American president on their plan to end a war, so they get a bunch of land, they get territory, they get what they want out of this war, what they've wanted this entire time, and Ukraine gets nothing. This is a huge scandal. This is not something to sweep under the rug. This is huge. So look, we're going to take a look at this leaked phone call in just a moment, but before we do any of that, make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about the story, and without further ado, I just want to introduce you a little bit to Steve Witkoff, because just recently, he put his hand over his heart when he met with Putin as soon as he walked in the room. And Ron Filipowski says like he's reunited with a loved one. That really tells you everything you need to know. And you can see in this video that he clearly has an admiration for Putin. Just watch. Oh my. An American working in the United States government putting his hand over his heart while meeting Vladimir Putin, a murderous dictator who has done everything in his power to screw over the United States consistently. That's who he's honored to meet, putting his hand over his heart. I just remember under President Biden when they had a hard line with Putin. There was no BS. There was no sucking up to Putin. They told it like it is. They held Putin accountable, and they put him in his place. But under Donald Trump, senior foreign policy advisors to the president are putting their hands on their hearts while meeting this lunatic, murderous dictator. It's absolutely insane. And of course, we also know who Donald Trump is in relation to Putin. You know, when they had their meeting in Alaska, Donald Trump and Putin, he rolled out the red carpet for Putin, an American president rolling out the red carpet again for this murderous dictator who has hurt the United States time and time again. And he had American soldiers roll out the carpet. It is such a disgusting dystopian view. And of course, when Trump and Putin met, he sat there on the red carpet that he rolled out for him, clapping like a seal, awaiting his arrival. Watch. Oh my. Look at them, best friends. Look at them, best buddies. Best buddies. Donald Trump is sitting there clapping for Vladimir Putin, who has killed so many people in his own country, killed Americans, and Donald Trump's there clapping. Oh, he loves it. It is so disgraceful how Trump has treated Putin throughout his entire time in politics. And of course, with the recent news, we saw that email, that leaked Epstein email, where Mark Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein were talking about Donald Trump blowing Bubba and Putin having a photo of it. Remember, Mark Epstein said, "How are you doing?" a while back. You mentioned that you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed? What's your boy Donald up to? Epstein, Jeffrey that is, said, "All good, Bannon's with me." And then Mark asked him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. We still don't know what that means. And Mark Epstein, the emailer in this instance, said that Bubba is not Bill Clinton, but did not deny this exchange. So we don't know. I don't know what photos Putin has of Donald Trump, but maybe this explains a lot. Now, let's get into this leaked phone call because there's a lot here. It's a transcript, so we're going to move through it relatively quickly to get to the major points, but it's a phone call between Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's special envoy for peace missions, and Yuri Ushakov, who is Putin's most senior foreign policy advisor. And Ushakov is labeled YU, and Steve Witkoff is labeled SW. It's a 5-minute phone call. It says, "Hi, Yuri." He says, "Steve, how are you?" "Good, Yuri. How are you doing?" "I am okay. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you. You made a great job. Just a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Yuri, and thanks for your support. I know your country supported it, and I thank you." This was around the Middle East time. Yuri said, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. You know that's why we suspend the organization of the the first Russian-Arabic summit. Yes, because we think that you're making a real job in the region. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I think if we can get the Russia-Ukraine thing solved, everybody will be jumping for joy. He said, yeah, you only need to solve one problem. What? And he said, the Russia-Ukraine war. Steve says, how do you get that solved? My friend, I just want your advice. Do you think it will be useful if our bosses will talk on the phone? Witkoff says, yes, I do. He also says, my guy is ready to do it. And then it gets weird. This is where we get back to this headline where Steve Witkoff is advising Russia on how to pitch Donald Trump on this plan, saying, here's what I would do, my recommendation. I would make the call and just reiterate that you can congratulate the president on this achievement, that you supported it, that you respect that he is a man of peace, and you're just really glad to have seen it happen. So I would say that. I think from that, it's going to be a really good call, because let me tell you what I told the president. I told the president that you, the Russian Federation, has always wanted a peace deal. They've wanted a peace deal in Ukraine while they're sending cruise missiles into apartment buildings, hospitals, churches, and more. That's wanting peace. They are so in Putin's pocket. It is disgusting. And I believe the question is the issue that we have two nations, we are having a hard time coming to a compromise. And when we do, we're going to have a peace deal. I'm even thinking that maybe we set out like a 20-point peace proposal, as we saw recently, just like we did in Gaza. We put a 20-point Trump plan together that was 20 points for peace. And I'm thinking maybe we do the same thing with you. My point is, and let's just go back here. Steve Witkoff is advocating for the Russians to engage in flattery with Donald Trump. Just compliment him. Say that he's a man of peace. He is such a great president. He wants all this stuff. He's advocating for the Russians to flatter Donald Trump so that they can get a peace deal that's in their favor. I mean, this is as corrupt as it gets. Advising an enemy on how to manipulate the president of the United States, which, by the way, Donald Trump is easily manipulated. He already bows down to Putin. And now Steve Witkoff is saying, yeah, let's make it happen even more. Yuri says, okay, my friend, I think that very point in our leaders could discuss. I agree with you that he will congratulate. We will say that Mr. Trump is a real peace man, and so, that he will say. So Yuri is like, yeah, we get the idea. Let's just say Trump is a peace man, that, you'll congratulate him, yada, yada, yada. He knows the game. These foreign leaders are enemies around the world. They know the game. They know that Donald Trump is easily manipulated. They know that Donald Trump responds well to flattery. They know the game. If you want to get something from Donald Trump, you go in there, just like all of these business leaders and universities have done, give him a gift, compliment him, praise him, and he'll give you a tax break. He'll give you a favorable deal for your country. It is so insane that this is where we're at. And Yuri says, I'll discuss with my boss and come back to you, because listen to what I'm saying. I just want you to say, maybe just to say this to President Putin, because I have the deepest respect for Putin. Deepest respect? Oh my gosh. Maybe he says to Donald Trump, Steve and Yuri discussed a very similar 20-point peace plan that could be something we think we might move the needle on a little bit. We're open to these sorts of things to explore what it's going to take to get a peace deal done. Now, here's where it gets even worse. Now, me to you, I know what it's going to take to get a deal done. The Donetsk region and maybe a land swap somewhere. But I'm saying, instead of talking like that, let's talk more hopefully, because I think we're going to get a deal here. And I think Yuri, the president, will give me a lot of space and discretion to get the deal. I can't even believe what I'm reading. Steve Witkoff is saying, I know what it's going to take to get a deal done. A land swap, the Donetsk region, a land swap. Ukraine has been firm this entire time that there will be no land for Russia. Donald Trump in September said that he believes Ukraine could win it all back. I don't know what happened behind the scenes for him to change his mind, but he believes that Ukraine can win it all back, and if there is a peace deal, no borders need to change. And now Steve Witkoff is saying to the Russians behind the scenes that they think it's going to take a land swap, giving away all our leverage in any deal. It's like we have toddlers running the government who have never done anything like this. And maybe that is the case because it's full of Fox News hosts, but this is what it looks like to me. And I know it's what it looks like to you folks at home, but I am baffled at the stupidity, the incompetence of what's on display in this phone call and what we constantly see from the administration. And Yuri's like, I see. Okay, that sounds good. Of course it sounds good, because it's what the Russians want. And then they end the phone call basically after that. I am so heated and frustrated right now reading this transcript. It is so obvious that Steve Witkoff is just a pawn for the Russians. Donald Trump is a pawn for the Russians because perhaps Putin has compromising photos of him. We are living in a country that is not obviously focusing on the United States, not focusing on what's good for the world, but focusing on our enemies and what's good for them. This is an explosive story. So look, I'll leave the video there. You don't need me raging anymore in your ear. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. I'm excited to hear from you, but truly insane. Have an amazing rest of your day, and we will talk soon.